just giving you a daily update on how much of a delay we have. That is how much of a delay we have today. So just so you know, if you take a little while to hear one of us respond to the other, that's because that's what's happening. Welcome to the best mom podcast out there, because we are your realest, most honest mom, talking about the most honest mom conversations, topics that frankly everybody should be talking about, because the more we talk about it, the easier they get. Every time we get a message from one of you saying, thank you for talking about this, we don't hear enough about this conversation, it warms my heart. And so without further ado, the topic for today's podcast is, which one is a better mom, the working mom or the stay-at-home mom? I'll let you start.
And as you guys already know us so well, you know that we are very hot on this topic because one is clearly better than the other.
It's a bullshit question.
Bullshit. I call bullshit stuff. Like, I know.
I hate when people use the term working mom. A working mom. Who the fuck is not a working mom? Which mom is not working?
Superstore. There's an episode in Superstore where when Amy has a baby and Glenn also has the baby, and they're like calling her Glenn's wife she's the super mom because she's full-time mom, and the other one is the working mom. And it's like, no, but they're both full-time moms no matter what.
Right.
Even if they're working.
Anyway. Whether you're making $1 million at a law firm or you're washing dishes all day, you're still a full-time mom, no matter what. Whether you're hiring 3 nannies to take care of your kids during the day, plus the school, you're still a full-time mom. Because guess what? When that kid gets sick, guess who's losing sleep? It's not the nanny, it's you. And ultimately, whose responsibility it is to provide nutrition, right? And who's paying? Because I think for a lot of people, and I think I struggle a little bit with this in my life because of the generational change, right? So I'm a millennial. I was born in '88, and then also I come from a country that was stuck in time. So the way that I was raised until I left home, because my parents obviously have this upbringing from Cuba, like super backwards, like back in the day, like things were still like in the 50s when I left Cuba in the year 2000. So my parents were brought up this way. And so even though we moved to the States, we kept a lot of those mentalities. I have kept a lot of that mentality. And so I went to school in San Francisco, which was very liberal. And, and then I started adjusting, right, my mindset to the things that make sense for me. But even in today's world, 2024, I'm an entrepreneur. I make my own money. I've had my own job. All these things, I still find it a little uncomfortable if I go out to dinner and I have to pay, not my husband, even though it's our same money. It's crazy. Like, we now have bank accounts separate and also joint. But like, I never look into his bank. I never see his money, even though it's the same. And we do finances every week and all the money gets to pay, and he pays all my things and all that stuff. It's weird for me to go out and for my card to be the one that's coming out. And I have realized after years of battling with this issue, because I'm not one of those, I'm a feminist through and through. A woman should be able to do whatever the hell she wants. Like, I love having my own money and paying with my own money. But it's so weird if I have to buy dinner for all of us. Why? Because I come from this like backwards mentality of like, the man is the one who treats the woman, and it's like, why? If we're both working and making money, like, what difference does it make? You know what I mean?
At me, at this point, is just because it's convenient. It's like, yeah, you pay for it. It's our money.
I like the convenience of not having to leave the house with anything, right? But let's face it, I leave the house with a giant diper bag. You tell me I can put a card in there somewhere?
You already are a milking cow, like you're walking, feeding your child. Like, you don't need this added responsibility of having to pay.
I agree. Plus, I leave my purse everywhere we go. So really, it's not as a responsibility that you want to give to me. But it really, in all honesty, though, in my mind, it is a thing. Like, it's not just a responsibility. It's not just, it's, for me, it's a thing. It's oh my God, like, the man pays, and we were talking about this recently. And for him too, by the way, like, my husband and I have shifted through we've been together for 11 years plus. And in all those years, we've shifted, especially since having a baby, on who's the one that's working the most. So we have our company that we both work on, but there's usually one of us that's taking the brunt of it. So when I was pregnant with my first child in the beginning of her birth, it was him only working. Basically, I was still working, doing everything I'm doing, but I was not really monetizing to where I could support myself or the family alone. And then when we came here to Hawaii at the beginning of it, and we were trying for our second baby, again, he took the brunt of it so that I could develop, our company together.
Okay, that's okay, Flynn. You can go.
On today's episode, by the way, you have a cameo by Flynn, who refused to go to sleep. Um, and
He
so,
coughed. He came to tell me that.
oh, very important information. We needed to know that.
Mhm.
And so, for when we moved to Hawaii as well, he was the one who was, the moneymaker. And now we're about to make another switch where I'm the one that's mainly responsible, right, through my company, and he's gonna take the more stay-at-home parent, right? He's gonna be more on the kids side. And it's so weird because he's like, well, like if I need to pay my bills, like how do we do this? Do I ask you? I feel weird asking you every month. Can we allot an amount that comes to me every month? And it's so funny because after 11 years of sharing finances from the get-go, of literally working towards the same goals, sharing money, et cetera, broke or rich, whatever, we've always been together on this. It's still awkward, right? Because he feels like, oh, now I'm gonna be home. And he's told me several times, oh my God, like I need to do something to make money. And I'm like, no, you're not making money. I'm making money. You're taking care of the kids. Like, which obviously I'm still going to be taking care of the kids, but you know what I mean? Like he's going to be the main. And we realized because of how difficult this transition is being to sort out for ourselves mentally, we haven't even started yet, right? How this is an issue for so many people, like for a lot of us, especially millennials that come from the upbringing from the previous generation, we still think somehow that if you're a proper mom, you're home with the kids. But if you're working, you're somehow less of a mom. And if you're a dad and you're home with the kids, you're probably gay, like, like you're not a man. Where are your balls, right?
Yeah. That's always like this stigma, isn't it? Like, well, I feel like no matter what you do, no matter what you choose, you are always shanked because it's never the right one, right? You always, or you're a stay-at-home mom. This means you're lazy. You just like to stay at home all day on your butt and do nothing because that's what stay-at-home moms do, clearly.
Right.
And then if you go to work, it's because you don't love your child, so you want to spend time away.
Why did you have kids if you didn't want to spend time with them?
Exactly. So you can never win regardless. And then there's the men's side of things where, there are men that want to stay at home that can't because society told them that means they are just the opposite sex or they are,
right. Or less men because
they're just less person because they don't want to be the one providing the
you're
money.
ashamed of a man because you have no ambition to be rich and support your family and spend 80 hours a week away from them. You only want to be home. How gay are you?
Yeah, exactly. Like ridiculous. Right. And then so it's like there's never a winning, and that's why like it's so hard for us to decide anything. Like I remember before even become like being pregnant or anything, like I remember thinking like, yeah, I am independent, I make my own money, and when I have kids I will never be a stay-at-home mom because that's just obviously in my head that's just lazy and just staying at home. But actually in my head it wasn't because it was lazy, it was more because like my mom was a stay-at-home mom and I saw the shit that she was doing, like cleaning and all of this, cooking and doing crap all day long. And it's like, yeah, I don't want that for my life. Like I don't want to be doing this. And that was the one reason I said no. But then, I had Flynn and I was like, oh, wait, it's a bit different than just, cleaning and cooking all day. Well, you do still have to do that, but it is different. Like it's a harder choice than you think.
Right.
That it was to just go back to work. So kind of like changed a little bit, but yeah, obviously as well, like when I had Flynn, I kind of lost myself into motherhood. So like I was giving my whole to him. So like taking that step away from like, I have dreams, I want to do something, I want to be achieving whatever it is that I was wanting to achieve at the time. So that was the hard step to take away. And then it was like, again, like, oh, the guilt because I'm leaving my baby to go and do something for myself and, actually go and be a working mom instead of a stay-at-home mom. And then, oh, I have to put my son at school or he has to go to a nanny. Oh, my God, what the fuck? I'm such a bad mom. And it never ends.
It never ends. The guilt, as we've decided, the guilt never ends. But I think that's so shitty, too, because it may be a first-time mom situation. I'm not yet, and it's very soon. My baby is 3 months, so we definitely can't. It's not solved. But I find it, and it also may have something to do with where we're at in life, right? So, like I found I'm a little bit more, or a lot more, solidified in what I want to do. I have a lot more clarity. I have a lot more purpose. And so I feel like I'm not getting so lost in the aspect of like all I want to do is be a mom, like I did when I had my first child. When I had my first child, my whole entire world, it was like nothing mattered. Like my entire purpose was just to be a mom, and that's all I became, and that's
Yeah.
all I wanted to do. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that, or there's anything wrong with the other side, but I think that maybe, and again, this is just a theory, after you have your second, especially if you give yourself time in between so you can sort of like find yourself again, it starts becoming easier to develop a balance, right? So obviously you're still primarily a mom. I'm still, you know, working around the schedule of a child that I have to feed 24/7 on demand, et cetera, et cetera. But I find it that there's a little bit more leeway because I now understand that it's temporary. And so like I'm gonna be 24/7 dedicated to her for a little bit, and then it's a little bit less, and then it's a little bit less, and then I will have time to do my things again. And if I organize myself, I can keep it all sort of afloat. Um, but yeah, I think overall it's really crappy because it sort of like you're going through this crazy life transition of becoming a mother for the first time, and already so much is changing and the hormonal change and blah, 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 blah. And now you have this added stress of deciding, you know, what to abandon, your career, yourself, your child, because in your head it's so big. And it's like for so many of us still in 2024, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're doing nothing, you're just a trophy wife. And which whatever that means when you're in the parenting stage is wild to me that people even think this is a possibility. But I confirm that it is a thing. I have a friend who I talked to last year, so it's recent. She's my age, so again, not a super old person or anything like that. And she just got out of an engagement situation with a very toxic person a few years ago, so again, recent, where she thought, like she truly believed that this was the best scenario for her because he made a lot of money, and so she got to stay home and prepare the house, even though they had a cleaning lady and everything. But she, like, to the point that this man would even like choose what she had to wear to his job events that she had to come with. Like, she was literally this like trophy, you know, until she realized like this is not how I want to live my life. Like, you know, but that somebody in this day and age fell for that, you know what I mean? Just tells me that there is a lot of that out there, because I feel like for a lot of us that's still the reality, that's still the dream that's being told, that's still the story that's being told. Like at whatever age, with whomever you decide, you're gonna meet somebody, you are the secondary part of this equation. Like you are the support system of the husband you're gonna marry, and your job is just to be home, be cute, remain likable so that he can have sex with you still and give you children, and you would just stay home, take care of these kids, make a spotless home, and if you do anything less, you're worthless.
Okay, you can have breadsticks.
You know, hey, at least we're seeing that we are able to record an episode with Flynn there. He's not too bad. He's just coming in to give us an update every once in a while, which I feel like we needed the update.
Yeah, of course. He should be in bed, but he's eating breadsticks. It's all
hey,
good. It's all good.
Listen, at least he's eating breadsticks quietly in the living room and letting you record.
Yes.
When you're a mother, you have to choose. You have to pick your battles.
Yes, you have to choose. You have to pick your battles. And today I'm not picking this battle. Anyway, but yes, I agree with that. Like it's just so it is still believed it's like not even like belief, but it's ingrained in us. Like I find that sometimes for me, I find it hard to like feel like we have, separate incomes, because we do. We have those separate incomes and we have different bills and we pay things differently. But then it's like, oh, well, yeah, he's the husband and he also has this mentality, like he has to pay for things and he is the one who's providing for the family. So he has to have the bigger job or things like that. And it's like, but where is this coming from, right? Like,
and the stress that it creates
when we don't believe it. Yeah, and we don't believe it. We just
follow
have this
it
in our heads.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's just like you try to get out of this mentality, and it's just so it's in our society and it's where we live and everywhere, and it's just like you can't hide from it, and you are the radical for doing something different. And I have to say, like, there's no, like, if staying at home mom is something that you want to do and your husband will provide, and something that's like something that you want to do, that's definitely something you should do, and it's fine for you to do. We're trying to talk about something different.
Yes.
How times have changed, and how about being a working mom is seen as neglecting your family, and is seen as you're abandoning them, when you're truly not. You're just also a person that wants to do something with their lives besides just You
But
know, you
also
don't have to be
like,
one thing or the other, you know?
I think a good way to think about it is like, how fortunate are we that we get to decide how to provide for our families? Like, I feel
Yeah,
like back in the days, like women were not given a choice. And maybe we don't all have the ideal choices today. Maybe we don't all get to make a lot of money, or we don't all get to like support our families or be the breadwinner or whatever that looks like for each family. But I feel like just having the choice is so important because
yeah,
back in the days, like your husband died and you were just stranded, like literally you're just homeless, or like something happened to your husband and you're like royally, whatever, and nobody can take care of you, your family. You have to go back to your family, your dad, or whatever, And now it's like we have all these options, but why can't we just also raise up to the table and be like, it's okay, it's okay to just do part time working, or to stay
yeah,
home, or to go and work full time, or to, like my husband is a lot more patient than I am, and he's not as entrepreneur minded. I mean, he has ideas and stuff like that, but I don't feel like he's as like go get it as I am. Like I'm more like I'm gonna do it and then I'm gonna fix it, but I'm gonna fucking do it. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
why can't we just look at our partners and be like, well, these are your strengths, these are mine. Let's see where we can allocate these things better so we can make a better
yeah,
team, as opposed to like following these rules of like, ooh, this person needs to do that, and it's like,
yeah,
what?
exactly.
Like,
Exactly, yeah.
so to sum it up, if you're in the season of life where you are still struggling with gender roles, first of all, know that it's not your fault because this is just how we were raised. Second of all, know that you're not alone, because I've been married with a person who's equal opportunities, equal employer, equal. He's never once been like, I'm the man and you're the woman. None of that. And I'm not like that either. And still, we're struggling on how to divide these roles and figure it all out 11 years later. So, by the way, if you're here to, hi, welcome. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy club, but
A
you're
crazy
not
world
alone.
out there.
And I think the solution, at least something worth trying moving forward, which is what we're doing, is having open communication with your partner about these things and expressing. So, like, for example, my husband sometimes will say things like, when I want to give him the baby, like he wakes up at 8 a.m., he goes to sleep way later than me. I wake up at 5 a.m. I usually have the baby with me from 5 until at least 8. But then when he wakes up at 8, I'm like, here. Because I'm still breastfeeding on demand through the night. So I'm basically 24/7 with his baby. She's 24/7 with me. And so when he wakes up, sometimes when I give him the baby, he's like, oh, and I'm like, like, like I'm never not
You
working.
don't.
I'm never not. And so for him, it's sometimes hard to understand because he just woke up, he worked all night, he's tired, this, that, and that. And I think it's just a matter of communication, because when you're that person dealing with something, it's totally valid to not see the other side. But I think it's also equally valid for your partner to make this space to communicate. And I think in relationships, one of the biggest issues we have is that we assume the other person knows how we feel because we feel this way and we've been together for so long. And oh my God, you're also a parent, or oh my God, but it's different. And so, like, one thing I'm practicing lately.
Not turn it off. I do not look, see? You gonna turn it off? Why? No. You wanna go to bed? No. Okay. What do you want? I want to sit here on the floor. Okay, fine. You can sit there on the floor.
So one thing that I have implemented as of late, and I've tried in the past, I failed. We have miserably failed, but we're trying again because that's what relationships do. We are trying to be communicative about our needs, such as, for example, my husband has expressed that it's hard and weird for him to, like, since I'm the breadwinner, right? Moving forward, let's say, it's gonna be difficult and weird and awkward for him to be like, hey, I need this much money to pay my bills every month. Like, that's not what we want to do. So we've decided that from all the money that comes into our family, like the money that I bring in every single month, on the first of the month, for example, there's an amount that goes to him. It covers his expenses and then some, right? So like a salary, because I believe that stay-at-home parents should be given a salary. I know for every family, it's not always possible. I know sometimes, especially at those beginning years, all we're doing is paying bills and thanking God that we can pay the bills, But I think for parents that stay at home, a really easy solution is to start doing a salary. And maybe a salary is $200 because that's all we can afford. So for you to have something for you to buy yourself a goddamn pair of new underwear without having to ask your partner. But I think it makes a monumental difference, because when you want to buy a gift for your partner, when you want to buy a gift for your kid, when you're out and about in the park and all you have is your partner's like debit card and you're like, well, can I use it? That's uncomfortable as hell. And it brings out a lot of animosity and it builds up a lot of resentment and a lot of like feelings of unworthiness for the parent that gets to be home. So if you are in this season of life, one recommendation is to sit down with your partner Be super, super honest. Take away all the judgment. Take away all the back bullshit that doesn't serve anybody anymore. And be like, okay, how would you feel better, right? How can I support you in this transition from working parent to staying at home? What do you need to feel more comfortable? Like you guys have done this too. Like for you, all this cleaning work was getting so overwhelming. That's literally all you did.
Yeah.
So you sat down, redefined your finances, started everything you had, cut whatever you had to cut, and hired somebody to clean the house for you. And that's alleviated a lot of pressure from your family, because now on the weekends, it's not just cleaning the house. And your husband doesn't have to come from working all week to clean the house, and you don't have to clean all week so that you can do something in the weekend, right? And just be exhausted on weekends. Now you guys get to enjoy. Well, it's the same thing for when you're dividing roles, right? And so you're going to be home. We're going to pay you this much. Okay, we cannot afford to pay you $1,000 a week, which is what you should be getting paid, let's say, for a salary for a full-time job, minimum. Yeah. But we can pay $500, every 2 weeks or whatever it is. Yeah. And then you get to have an income as well. And as a relationship, because that's another thing when you're parents, you're team members. And I find that especially in the first years of life, all the time together, it's literally being spent sorting out life, errands, the bills, this and the schooling, and who do we call, and the doctors, and your schedule, my schedule. So if we just solidify, like if you take out the bills out of the equation from the beginning by dividing the finances and dividing the money that comes in, that already takes away so much time that you can spend with your partner talking about nothing, talking about reminiscing on how you used to have wild sex in the car before you had kids or whatever, I have all the answers.
Is that what you've been reminiscing about? Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. No, bro, it's just like we have this new car, and like I was like, oh, how great would it be to have like.
Oh, thank you. He said I was very beautiful.
Oh, I love that he needed to come in to tell you that, even though he can see you from the living room.
No, he sat here.
Oh, okay. He's doing so good. He's doing so good. Anyway, if you're listening to this, you should know by now, because it's us. There is no mother that is better than another mother, no matter what. We're all amazing at our jobs and exactly what our children need. But I want you to tell us in the comment section or messages on Instagram, what stupid belief have you been holding on to, even subconsciously, that you hadn't realized that it was holding you back from living the life you want to live? And that is just something that like literally is ingrained. Like my husband has to pay out at restaurant because I just cannot be the one taking out the credit card to pay.
Please. I'm a princess.
Thank you for listening.
You're not even like that at all.
At all, right? I know.
About this. Like, I didn't even know that this was a thing for you. Like,
oh yeah. It's so strange too. It's so right?
It's not like, normal. I'm not, like, what? You?
For people that know me, you would know that I'm not like this at all. But for some reason, I swear to you, every time I have to pay, I'm like.
But it's true. Now that I'm thinking about it, he always pays. Like, he's always the one paying.
Even though it's our money.
I always thought you guys had like, the common card. Like,
no. Well, we try to use his card because he has a better like miles deal and stuff like that. But it's not even because of this. Before we had this, it was always like it was an issue. Like I was like, okay, look, listen, I will give you money later, but I just do not want to be the one paying.
Love it. You pay, bitch.
It's coming out of my account. Here, it's like here, you pay. You ask for the bill.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to people, please.
I've just recently started asking for the bill at restaurants. And I feel, by the way, okay, full disclosure, super embarrassing. When I ask for the bill at restaurants, I always feel like I have to ask in front of the server. I go to Roger and I'm like, are we done? Should we get the, let's get the check, please. Even though I know that I want to get the check, I always feel like I have to ask him because like, I don't want to, it feels like I'm emasculating him because in my head, it's the man that should, how like men used to order for the women before? This is how ridiculous this is. And now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, this is so stupid. I don't understand why I do this. But I think that's where it comes from. Yeah, it comes from that old mentality of the man is going to order, like, I will order for my wife. It's like, the fuck, I know what I want to eat. You don't tell me what I want to eat.
How dare you, woman, filthy woman, speak to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went.
I don't know what country you're from. Are you a Russian?
I have no idea. I wish I could tell you. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys.
Please come tell us you have another some other stupid belief, just like I do. I can't be the only crazy person who doesn't believe in things but have this weird ingrained. Anyway, let us know.
I'm sure
Come
you're
see us on
not.
Instagram at Who Let the Moms Out That Pod. And don't forget to subscribe if you're watching or listening on YouTube. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week.
Bye.